Hey guys, happy Sunday. My name is Lauren Wendell, aka The Fit Law. Welcome to our weekly recipe. This is from TFL, the Hungry Girls Guide. The full recipe is in the comment section. It will take you to my blog and you can read through the recipe. You'll get all the ingredients you need. Everything's on there. So feel free to click and browse that. I did put a shopping list up on Friday morning. So for those of you who have the ingredients, feel free to cook along with me. We are making pesto chicken zoodles tonight. And for those of you who don't know what zoodles are, it's just a fancy way of saying zucchini noodles. So it's not actual pasta, obviously. I don't eat processed carbs like pasta or bread. So for us, we had to substitute and do something healthier. So some people like spaghetti squash. Don't get me wrong, I love spaghetti squash, but I'm not a big fan of the texture. So for me, zoodles were a little bit more appealing of an option, just because I think that they fit. They're a little bit crunchier, stuff like that. This is a super simple recipe. It's probably going to take me a little bit longer than 20 minutes, but you could definitely do this recipe in 20 minutes easily. So just keep that in mind. This is going to be one of those quick recipes that you can throw together. The pesto you can freeze. It is amazing and super easy to make, but you can freeze it and keep it for long periods of time. It's great to just kind of toss in some stuff. So I'm going to just get started. I'm going to grab my chicken here out of the fridge and let me get my 2 chicken breasts. I knew I forgot something when I started, and it was I forgot to take chicken breasts out. So give me 1 second. Okay, so I have 2 rather large chicken breasts, okay? Now with this, I want you to butterfly them, and all that means is you're basically gonna cut them in half, just not all the way through, okay? So I'm gonna show you how to do this. You're gonna need a chef's knife, obviously a cutting board, and you're gonna hold your hand flat on the top of the chicken, okay? You gotta be okay getting your hands dirty a little bit, and you're just gonna cut a slit into the chicken, okay? You can just kind of cut away at this a little bit at a time. All right, and then you're gonna slowly kind of separate it out. And that's all we're gonna do. We're just making it a little bit thinner. It'll help it cook a little bit faster. We're gonna cut this through the end here. These are massive chicken breasts. If you have thinner ones, it'll be okay. You don't need to do it, but these are really, really thick, so that's why I'm doing it. And you're just gonna kind of place them out. You can also just cut them in half if you want. But I'm just doing that so that they cook a little bit faster. I'm gonna stick this on my plate. And then let's do the other one. So you just need 2 pretty large chicken breasts. And then we're gonna get these in the oven pretty quick. And then we'll start the other stuff while these are cooking. All right, good to go. Easy enough, right? All right, let me wash my hands really quick and my knife. Okay. Rinse this off. And I'm also just gonna flip it over. So even though I rinsed it, I'm just gonna flip it over too. Okay, so chicken is butterflied. We're gonna season this with just a little bit of olive oil, salt, and pepper. Nothing crazy. And then also a little bit of red pepper flake too. This is optional. You don't have to put the red pepper flake in if you don't want. I highly recommend it. I think it gives it a really good flavor and kind of a kick. We're leaving the cheese out, at least I am. I put it on the recipe list in case you wanted to add it. It's up to you. I obviously don't eat dairy, so I'm leaving it out in pesto. But I think the red pepper flakes give it a little bit of a kick. So instead of black pepper, we're gonna use these red pepper flakes and just a little bit of those. And we're gonna cover the chicken in them. My husband's happy about this. I used to be super opposed to spicy food. I hated it. He got me hooked a little bit, just a little. So a little bit of red pepper flakes and kosher salt. And then we'll throw these in the oven. My oven is preheated to 400 degrees and I just stuck these on a baking sheet, okay? So super simple. We're not gonna spend a ton of time on the chicken, okay? Stick those in the oven. All right, let's see. Where do you typically shop out of curiosity? So a couple different places. I usually shop Trader Joe's for most of my produce. I really like Trader Joe's. I also have a local store called the Horrocks that I really like. We get all of our meats at a local place called Byron Center Meats. We try to shop as local as possible. Trader Joe's just has really good quality ingredients for not a ton of money. So that's why we tend to shop there. And then just our local grocery store too. We have a family fair that's really close to my house. So sometimes we go there, but we try to avoid it because it's a little bit more expensive. Hey Lauren, do you ever get tired of cooking? No, I really, really like it. Hold on, I'm going to pull up the recipe here on my phone so I know my measurements. I really enjoy cooking. Obviously, I went to culinary school, so it's kind of my thing. I don't work in a kitchen anymore, so it's therapeutic to me. I think a lot of people think of it as a chore, but to me, I really, really enjoy doing it. Don't get me wrong, like, there definitely are days where I don't want to, right? I get it. I get in this mindset and I'm like, ugh, I would do anything but cook right now. So I definitely have those days, don't get me wrong. But for me, I really enjoy it. It's therapeutic for me to get in the kitchen and cook. Okay, so we're gonna start making this pesto really quick. So we need 2 cups of fresh basil. Let me get some, I'm just gonna get 1 big measuring cup and we'll use this for everything. So this is 2 cups. So I have my basil just sitting in here. I'm gonna try to pull some of this out. You don't need to chop it or anything because we're gonna blend it so in the food processor, so don't feel the need to do that. I'm just gonna pull this out here actually. And I'm just gonna do this the fast way, which is we're gonna chop the stems off the bottom. I just bought a ton of basil. If you grow it too during the summer, like this is a really good way to make your basil last through the winter. You can make pesto and then freeze it. And those little pesto ice cubes are perfect to throw in stuff like shrimp. You can do it on these pastas. You can do it over chicken if you want. Like it's just a really simple thing to use, right? And it's such a good thing to have in your freezer. So I know this is more of a summer dish, but you definitely can still find basil this time of year. It actually, I feel like, is a little bit cheaper because everybody's getting rid of it right before the winter so that their plants don't die, right? So they've just like harvested. Is it still called harvesting when you're doing herbs? I don't know. They've just kind of harvested all their basil. Okay, let's see. Can't wait to make my own pesto. Definitely going to use this. Awesome. Oh, I just got off the phone with her. What brand of food processor is that? So mine is just like a Food Network processor. Not going to lie, I have a new food processor on my list for Christmas. And my husband knows that. So I'm trying to get a bigger one. Mine's really little. This is just one that I've had. It was just cheap, so we bought it a while ago. Hold on 1 second. We bought it a while back, but yeah. Okay. Almost done here. Kind of pack this in. 2 cups of basil is a lot. But if you know basil and you've grown basil, it grows like crazy. You get tons of it. I always have a separate pot for my basil because I use it for a lot of different stuff. Everybody wants to garnish everything with basil too. It's a good garnish, I guess. And no, if anybody is going to ask, there isn't a substitute for this. For pesto, you actually need to use basil because I know there are some people out there that don't like it too, but unfortunately, there is not really a good substitute for the basil in this dish. So I'm basically going to use all of this. I don't know why I'm being gentle. Get off. Okay. Good to go. So we're going to kind of shove this down in here, okay? I wish I had a bigger food processor. Santa, bring me a food processor. And the one that I want, by the way, is KitchenAid brand. Okay. Cool. So we have 2 cups of that. And then we're going to add, I'm actually going to pulse this a little bit just because I don't have a ton of room. And then I'm going to add a 1/3 cup of pine nuts. Now, you could use other kinds of nuts too. Walnuts work really well in this. You can do pecans. The one thing I'm going to say that no matter what kind of nut you use, please toast them because they're going to bring out the essential oils in the nuts and they're going to give you a better flavor, like that nutty flavor that you like, okay? So make sure that you toast your nuts, guys. Don't forget to toast your nuts. Okay, so I'm going to blend this just a little bit. I'm just going to pulse it a couple times. Oh, well, it would help if I plugged it in. Brain fart. Okay, here we go. There's no liquid in it, so it's not going to go a lot. So the 1/3 cup of pine nuts, I'm going to add these. This might help it kind of blend a little bit. This is the one bad thing about having a small food processor is sometimes you got to kind of like maneuver it a little bit. A little bit of maneuvering. Okay, add a couple more. I love pine nuts, by the way. I eat them on everything. I always have toasted pine nuts in my pantry, just ready to go. They're in that little, where'd that go? I just have like a little container. These are just already toasted, and I just keep them in my pantry. They're great for like salads and stuff. All right, come on. This thing hates me right now. I guess I could use my Vitamix too. But what's going to happen is when I stick the olive oil in it, it'll kind of all come together and it'll start blending better. But I just wanted to help it a little bit, but it's not wanting me to, so... Oh my goodness, what am I doing? Whatever, we'll try it again. Okay, in a minute. So we're going to need 3 cloves of garlic. You don't need to chop these up because, again, you're going to process them, but 3 cloves of garlic. Peeled, please. Don't put your peels in. That's no good. Nobody likes that. Gross. So that's 1. There's number 2. Okay, and number 3. And if you just take your knife, you put it flat on top, and then obviously don't cut yourself, keep it flat, but then you just smash it down. That will separate the peel from the garlic, and it's a really good way to peel your garlic. Another thing is if you're doing mass quantities, if you take 2 large bowls and you put them upside down so they make like a circle, right? They have to be the same size, and you put your individual cloves in there and you shake it up and down, that'll also peel them all for you. Okay, so we're gonna stick that in there. I don't want to keep doing that like it's gonna do anything. Okay, so let's start drizzling some olive oil in here because that's what's gonna make it kind of come together and make it more of a liquidy pesto type thing. So we need half a cup of olive oil. Sorry, I'm reading my recipe that I wrote down. Even I need to look at a recipe every once in a while. So half a cup of olive oil. No other specific kind of oil that I would recommend, just like good quality extra virgin olive oil will do the trick. Okay, here we go. And then this little thing on top of your food processor, that's what it's for. It's for drizzling in, okay? So this is the same thing that you would use for like mayonnaise or to make an emulsify something, is just drizzle in olive oil. That's all it is. So put it on high. There we go. Did you see how much faster that all blended up? So now we're gonna add a little bit of salt and pepper, and then I'm gonna blend it a little bit more, okay? So just salt, black pepper. Now, if you wanted to add the Parmesan cheese into it, you need, I believe it's a half a cup of that as well, and you could add this add that cheese at this point too, and blend that all together. And that's gonna be a very more traditional pesto recipe, okay? So I'm gonna do a little bit of black pepper. Okay, maybe a lot more of black pepper. All right, so here we go. We're gonna blend this up. Good to go. And I leave mine a little bit chunkier. If you want it smoother, you can do that too, but I prefer it a little bit more chunky. Okay. Good, awesome. Here we go. Okay, let's get rid of this. You guys know I'm all about cleaning as you go. Okay, so next we have zoodles. Hold on one second. Okay, next we have zoodles. So for those of you who don't know what zoodles are, they are just zucchini noodles. So I have 3 zucchinis on my grocery list, just so you guys know. I did say 2, but that's because these ones are really small, so that's why I did that. So you're just gonna cut off the ends, okay? Cut off the top, cut off the little tiny bottom butt, put those off to the side. So you're just gonna clean them up a little bit, okay? Now, there are a couple different things that you can use to spiralize, and that's what I call it, is spiralizing, right? So there's a spiralizer that you can get at Bed Bath & Beyond. It's like $10, I think, and it's white, and it's this big, and you just literally take it and you twist your zucchinis. The other thing you can do if you don't have that is, come on, where is it? It might be dirty. You can just use a potato peeler, okay? So you don't need fancy things. You can just use a potato peeler and just hold it, and then you're gonna get those nice long ribbons. I have like the super fancy spiralizer because, you know, I have every kitchen gadget known to man, and Pampered Chef is my life. So when they came out with this, I jumped at it. So mine is like super, super uber fancy. And actually, I don't think I can fit this in here, so I need to cut them in half. So all I do is I get to stick this in here and then push this down, and I'm excited, I haven't used this in a while. And then I twist it. And it comes out with zoodles. Do you see them coming out the back? I love this thing. I'm so excited right now. I've done this with like a couple other things, but zucchini noodles are my favorite. I guess it's a workout too, right? What do you think? All right, come on. And then I'm just left with like my little zucchini butt thing, which you could eat or use or whatever. Get out of here. Okay. I'm going to stick these in a bowl. Yay! And I have all these different settings on my little spiralizer. So like some are thicker, some are thinner, some are ribbons. You know, you can do it a bunch of different ways, which is kind of cool. All right, I wish there was a way for me to get this like... Is that working? Yeah, there we go. Okay, so I got a couple more of these. This is also a really great lunch recipe, so you can, you don't have to cook zucchini. You can eat it raw. So another thing that I've seen a lot of people do is make like salads with it, right? You can pickle it and do like a vinegar-based dressing on zucchini or a cucumber even with these spiralized like vegetables, and it's super good. Okay, so that one worked a little bit better because I put it in the right place, but do you see that? Look how pretty those are. These are all the rage. I have this restaurant that I love here. I don't know. I think it's a chain. Actually, I know it's a chain. It's called Hula Hands, and they do spiralized and like zucchini, lasagna, and stuff like that. And so I love that they use the vegetables instead of carbs because that's kind of like all the rage right now. So they're jumping on board with that, which I think is so cool. All right, a couple more of these. And I have 3 zucchinis. This is probably going to make about... I usually say a serving is 1 zucchini. So if you have like 2 people, then 2 should be okay. Like I said, I bought 3 just because first of all, we like leftovers. And second of all, they were small. Almost done. I'm getting faster. Starting to like muscle through these pretty quick. My cat is right by my feet, just like he always is. Wouldn't be a good live stream if the tuxedo was not right by my feet. Okay, I might not do all of these. Just because it's annoying. I didn't think this through. I didn't realize how much time it was going to take. Oh my goodness. Okay. Yeah, and this was making a ton. Holy cow. Okay. All right, so what's great about these too is that they take so much less time than pasta. Like so much less time, right? So that's an awesome thing about this too, is like sometimes I make these for lunch and they take me 5 minutes to cook. Like they're really quick. So if you have leftover chicken in and you have the pesto already made, like you have a 5-minute lunch that you're throwing together. So I'm actually, I'll just finish them. What kind of spiralizer is this? This is Pampered Chef. So obviously you guys know probably by now that I used to be a Pampered Chef consultant a long time ago, so I have everything that they've ever made. There are consultants that you can get there from. If you need one, let me know. I have somebody that I can recommend to you, a really good friend of mine. But yeah, Pampered Chef, I want to say this was like $40 to $50, something like that. Okay. All right. All right, last thing. I'm going to need to finish this up here. Come on. Oh, I probably should take out the little butt first. This is a learning experience because, like I said, I've only used this with sweet potatoes. I've never actually used it with zucchini yet. So you guys are seeing the first time I've ever done it. All right. All right, I'm going to show you guys how I cook this and throw it together, and then we'll be good to go. Like I said, this is a super, super fast and easy recipe. Okay, so we're done with that. So let's get this over here. Don't need my cutting board anymore. I'm a big, like, I get annoyed when there's, like, clutter on my counters and stuff. So look how much that made. Just 3 zucchinis made a ton, okay? So now what I'm going to do is kind of, like, mix this all together. It's super easy. So I have a large skillet, okay? I'm going to do tiniest bit of olive oil. Like, when I say tiny, I mean, like, tiny. You do not need a lot, especially because we're going to add the pesto, and that has olive oil in it also. So add a little bit of olive oil and heat that up on the stove. Medium-high heat. And then I'm just going to add the zucchini to it. These are probably going to take like maybe 2 or 3 minutes to cook down. I would say a little bit longer than that, 3 or 4 minutes probably, but not a ton of time at all. They're really, really quick. All right. Alrighty. Get some tongs. Season these with a little bit of salt and pepper, not a ton, because again, we have the pesto that we're going to put on top, okay? Okay, good to go. All right, let's check our chicken. It's probably got another 10 minutes. So I probably won't show you guys the chicken, but what I'm going to do with it after I'm done is literally just like slice it and serve it on top. So the main part of this dish was the pesto, and as you guys saw, this is like a dump recipe, right? You can just dump everything in there, and it's so fast. So one of the things that I have been doing is, I don't know where they are, but if you watched my previous live stream, you know that I have those ice cube trays that like pop out, right? They make these little like discs. They make these little tiny discs. These are just olive oil and herbs that I have that are frozen. And I'm going to do the same thing with this. So I'm going to have a tray of that so that it's just frozen in my freezer. And then what I can do is just take those frozen ice cubes and throw them in here. So if I was going to do the zoodles and I'm like, I don't really want to make pesto, I can take one of those discs out of the freezer and just throw it in the saute pan. It'll melt and I have my pesto, okay? All right. So once this starts to sizzle a little bit, I'm going to add my pesto in, and I'm going to do it before it starts cooking down too far because I don't want to overcook it. So like pretty close to the beginning, I'm going to take a couple tablespoons of this and add it in. You do not need a ton. Pesto goes a long way. Okay, so you're going to have a ton of leftovers. A little bit more. Learn to eyeball it. All right. And it's as easy as that, guys. So all I'm going to do is I'm going to cook that down for probably about another 3 minutes. Really, really simple. I threw that all together, and then I'm just going to serve the chicken on top. I love this recipe during the winter, during the winter because I can bake the chicken. But during the summer when I'm making this, I love to do the chicken on the grill. Grilled chicken over like zucchini noodles with pesto is amazing. So that's the end of it. It was super quick and easy. This is one of those recipes that you can put under 20 minutes. I'm so happy that you joined my live stream. This will be saved so you can rewatch it on my video. For the full recipe, click that link at the top and it'll take you to my blog. I will have pictures up of the full meal on the blog a little bit later. If you like my live stream, feel free to subscribe. Head over to my YouTube channel for other videos and follow me on Snapchat, Instagram, Twitter, all of the above if you want to come hang out and see when my next live streams are. These will be every single Sunday at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, so feel free to join me next time and see what we're cooking. My recipe shopping lists go up Friday morning, so if you want to cook along with me, you can. I hope you guys have a great night. Thank you so much for joining me, and I'll talk to you later. Have a good night. Bye.